Hello students, your teacher Tim back once again, and today I'm going to teach you about how to play in cut time, which is a time signature. And really what cut time is the time signature 2-2. And as the name suggests, you're cutting all of the note values in half. So this tells you that there are 2 beats in a measure, which is the top number, and that the half note gets 1 beat, which is the bottom number. How cut time is different than 4/4? Well, since the half note gets 1 beat in this case, that's what the 2 on the bottom means. That also means that the quarter note is now going to get half of a beat, and all of the other note values are now cut in half. So eighth note is now worth a quarter of a beat because it was worth half of a beat before. How many is a dotted half going to be worth in 2/2 or cut time? Well, if it's worth 3 beats, it's only going to be worth 1.5 beats now. All right, now let's continue here. What's the point? Why not just count it in 4/4? And I'll show you like as we play our example here. But cut time is good for pieces with many 16ths and 32nd note values, because if you think about it, if you're cutting all the note values in half, you won't need as many eighth notes or 16th notes and so forth, because remember, the quarter notes now take the place of the eighth notes. The eighth notes take the place of the 16th notes. It actually helps clean up the music if the note values are written in smaller values. So that's one of the purposes behind it. So you have less flags going on all the way across all the notes. What's the point? Why not just count it in 4/4? And I'll show you like as we play our example here. But cut time is good for pieces with many 16ths and 32nd note values, because if you think about it, if you're cutting all the note values in half, you won't need as many eighth notes or 16th notes and so forth, because remember, the quarter notes now take the place of the eighth notes. The eighth notes take the place of the 16th notes. It actually helps clean up the music if the note values are written in smaller values. So that's one of the purposes behind it. So you have less flags going on all the way across all the notes. Okay, cut time also makes it easier to count if you're playing fast, since you won't have to constantly be counting and saying 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Instead, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be counting 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Or really 1, 2, 1, 2, rather than 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's just a lot to say. Now, obviously, you're not going to be counting that out loud most of the time when you're playing. But, you know, just counting in that 1-2 rhythm really move things forward. All right, let's take a look and continue here. All right, I want to look at an example together, because all this talking isn't going to get us anywhere, is it? It only takes us so far. So here's our example. It's sonatine in C major, which our student Rich had suggested that we talk about today. So normally in 4/4, if I was counting this out, I'd be counting 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. Whew. A lot to say, right? And even in your head, it's a lot of brain power going into those. And don't get me wrong, counting it, actually, what I recommend is if you're a beginner, count cut time pieces in 4/4, because that'll make sure that you are being very accurate with your rhythms. However, if you count it in 2, it just makes it flow a lot nicer. And I'll try to my best to count along with this. I'll start with the metronome if I have any trouble. But 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Oops, it should have been 1, 2, 1, 2. Just like that. So you start up your metronome. You get your piece out. So here we go. Oh, sorry about that. I got like a little thing that popped up here. Let me also turn this up to make sure you can hear it. All right, here we go. We're ready now. think I can still do better than that? Let's try again. So a lot a lot better that time. Okay, so the main point of it, as you can surmise, is that we're counting in 2 rather than 4, and it really just helps move along the beats quite a bit better. All right, let's take a look at another example together. Okay, here we have the Pathetique Sonata, third movement. I'm just going to play the first 2 or 3 lines here so you get the idea here. So normally, if I was counting at 4, it would go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and you get the idea. So a lot to say, a lot to think about, and like I said, when you're first starting to learn this piece, you might actually want to do that just to make sure you're hitting all the eighth notes on all the ands. But really, it's going to go 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1. It's really hard to say and do at the same time. So let me start with that metronome again so we can do it properly. All right, let me get out Bing. Oh, it's already up. Okay, this one I'm going to do a little bit slower since this one is quite a bit more to handle. Oh, let me set the measure length to 2. And now it doesn't matter whether you really set it to 2 or 4. The difference is the accent that it gives you. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of something that means so much to me, which is teaching the world piano and music. This channel is all about giving you the tools to chase your passion of learning piano and music so that you can share that gift with others, whether it's through teaching, playing, or I don't know, just whatever which way you want. So go out and share what I've taught you with the world.